our final chance to get a football supersonic.
We've each got 2 footballs and 2 methods of trying to score a supersonic goal.
So we better get on with it.
The method I was adopting to try and score a supersonic goal was to use a massive kicking force. And for my first serious shot at goal, I was going to use something called a high-G gun. The high-G gun uses a compressed air cannon to kick a 1-ton sled down a track. Normally it's used for crash testing, but today its massive kicking power is going to be used on something quite different. The whole room is set up to monitor the track. There's a high-speed camera here, a high-speed camera here, high-speed camera there, and they're all running at such a fast frame rate, they need a huge amount of light to capture the action. I'd had my first taste of high-speed kicking with the compressed air mortar. And the high-G gun is really just a massive version of that. Once the system is fully pressurized, it can generate up to 100 G. G, or G-force, is the rate of acceleration due to gravity, and 100 G is 30 times more than Jason's dragster. So I have high hopes that the gun's raw power will kick me a supersonic goal. Okay, are we ready?
Oh, this is very exciting.
All that stood between me and inevitable victory
Build-up is incredible. Oh, my Lord, this is...
was a crash test dummy goalkeeper. He didn't get through the goal.
He didn't get anywhere near the goal.
Look, the pictures
Wow,
already.
already the pictures are coming up. Oh!
Yeah.
That's gotta hurt your big toe.
It was actually quite a good hit, I think. I was quite pleased with that.
I agree.
Yeah. Using computer analysis of the footage, the team at Myra calculated that my ball experienced an acceleration of 61 G. Ooh, that's good.
Whoa, that's a serious amount of G-force, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? I think it's our best so far. But what about the speed? Well, in fact, it was a disappointing 113 miles an hour. The reason for that was that while the ball experienced incredibly high acceleration from the kick of the boot, it only lasted for milliseconds before the ball left the boot and began to decelerate. I'm a bit disappointed. The problem was 61G just for a fraction of a second. If I'd managed to hold it up for 2 seconds, got a bit of follow-through, I'd have broken the sound barrier.
Yeah, I know. I feel bad for you. It was a good effort, but unfortunately, it wasn't good enough. You've got one more try. I'm up next.
So it was back to the quarry for my first attempt at a supersonic goal. Because I'd decided that to achieve success, I needed to attach my ball to something delivering continuous power, I'd enlisted the help of rocket guru Ben Jarvis, who promised me that if anyone could get my ball supersonic, it would be him. This is my rocket. This is where my football's going to go. And this is my 3-ton tensioned wire that's going to carry it at supersonic speed into that goal. Before fitting the rocket with its engine, the all-important ball had to be fixed securely into position. This is the business end of my rocket. The I-class motor I've chosen for it. All I need to do is insert it in there, hook up the igniter, and press my button. The class of the engine defines how powerful it is, and mine should deliver a constant force of nearly 600 newtons. My rocket ticked all the boxes for big speeds. It had a very high power-to-weight ratio and was very aerodynamic. On paper, it should have been capable of at least 800 miles per hour, but that's without carrying an unaerodynamic football. The big question was how much would the big round white thing on its nose slow it down? Okay, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's get that football supersonic. Oh, yeah! Now, that may have looked fast, and it was, taking only 1 second to cover the 100 metres between the start and the goal. Did you see that go? As it entered the goal, my rocket was clocked at 433.97 miles per hour. Clearly, it was only our old enemy drag, caused by the unaerodynamic football, that stopped the rocket breaking the 767 miles per hour sound barrier. Well, I may have scored the fastest goal in history, But that footy is not going to look very good in my trophy cabinet, is it?
No, and you can stop being so pleased with yourself because it obviously wasn't supersonic, and I've got something over there that could give it even more welly. My last hope at getting the ball to travel faster than the speed of sound rested on Gadget show pyrotechnics expert Harry. He'd promised me that with some high-power explosives, it would be me that would score the supersonic goal. Just like the air mortar I used before, this basically involves putting enormous force behind the ball and hoping that acceleration equals force divided by mass. My force is big, my mass is small, so my acceleration should be huge. But one thing we do know is that too much force and the ball will be blown to shreds.
3, 2, 1.
The sheer force of the explosive acceleration was too much for the ball, and it disintegrated. But where is it? I'm not sure.
It's everywhere, that's where it is.
Ah!
Oh, yeah, there's a bit.
Bits of ball. Look!
Let's have a look.
Some of it.
Hang on, here's some more.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that...
Look.
Using the slow-mo camera, we can see that the fastest bit of ball travelled through the net at about 250 miles per hour. The ball exploded, dissipating the force, and so it had no chance of breaking the sound barrier, which left my second rocket as our final hope. And this bad boy was 3 times more powerful than the first. That didn't help the aerodynamics issue, but I got a solution for that. One of the problems I'm facing is that the football is not a particularly aerodynamic device. Bring on my latest invention. Hey! Stick it in here. You see? Job done. With the unaerodynamic football now the rocket's payload, there was only a couple of seconds between me and inevitable victory. This is it. My last chance to get supersonic. Here I go. Okay. But of course, this was rocket science, and with rockets, nothing is ever simple. The rocket was so darn powerful, it stretched its guide wire, causing slack, and with its punctured football payload making it unstable, it couldn't stay on a straight trajectory. A lot of the power was wasted, and sadly my last attempt only reached 410 miles an hour, as it perfectly bisected the crossbar.